Marcelo, goedenavond.
Goedenavond. Do you speak a bit? Gaat goed. En met jou?
Ja, alles goed, ja.
How much of Dutch you speak?
Een beetje. Niet zo goed, maar ja, Samish woorden.
Good. I'm impressed.
Ik kom uit Uruguay, maar ik woon in Nederland al 2 jaar.
Je woont in Nederland?
In
Rotterdam. Rotterdam.
Ja, Rotterdam, ja.
Goed?
Goed, maar het is een moeilijke taal. Erg moeilijke taal.
Zeer moeilijk, ja. Mijn vriendin spreekt geen Nederlands. Nee? Zij is Italiaanse, mijn vriendin. Maar zij probeert ook wat woorden.
Ja. Oké, goed. Maar kunnen wij het interview in Engels maken?
Ja, natuurlijk.
Well, you see, I'm just trying to practice my Dutch a bit.
Yeah, good, but that's very good. I'm from the Netherlands myself, but I live in Italy. But I'm also developing my Italian skills. For me, Italian is as difficult as for you Dutch, probably.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah.
So, parla italiano o non parla italiano?
Io parlo un poco italiano.
Un poco de... Come sta Sicilia?
È molto bello.
Molto
bellissima. Bello. Sì, un'isola bellissima.
How long have you been living there in Sicily, in Italy?
Now the last 2 years, more often because of the pandemic. But I live here already on and off for like 8 years, but I was not so much home because of all the tours. But now the last 2 years, I'm more home. So now I can practice my Italian better.
Yeah, and you can teach, of course, Dutch to your friend, to your girlfriend.
Yes,
of course.
exactly.
Good exchange.
Yeah.
Okay. Talking about the new album, well, this interview is for Uruguay, as you may know. Mm-hmm. So the album I read, it was finished before May 2020, or so before all the COVID explodes.
Yes.
But of course, due to COVID, it has to be postponed until February this year. So how did you manage that time that the album was finished, but you could not release the album, not tour, not see reaction of the people? How did you manage that period of anxiety, I guess?
Yeah, it's indeed, like you say, it's for a band, it's completely different now, the live. But I was luckily having a lot of things to do. I have a new house. We still have a lot to finish, the garden. And I like to build things myself. I like to also design the garden myself. So nobody comes to design it, but I have my own ideas. And I also like to build all these things, for like walls with these stones. So I used my time here very well. Even though still it's not finished, so still a lot of things has to be built, like a barbecue and also a little fountain I'm finishing. So this made the time more easy to get. But now we don't know how long still it's going to take before we can do live shows. So at a certain point, I really start probably missing it a lot. So I hope that it's not going to take years, because then it's for a band very difficult situation. But yeah, it's beyond our control, so we have to see how it will go.
Yeah, of course. And it took a very long time for EPICA to release a new album after your previous one, almost 5 years. Was there something in particular that made you take more time to release it, or was something planned?
Yeah, we realized it was 5 years when the first guy told us about it, and then we noticed it was longer than. It didn't feel like 5 years, because in the meantime there was a lot of things happened. We did a long tour for the Holographic Principle. We released one EP with the Solar System, with the leftovers from the Holographic Principle. We also released an EP with the Attack on Titan songs, and we released the book, The Essence of EPICA. So the time was flying, and then at a certain point, before we started writing the album, we took a little break, a few months off, and then we started writing the album. Then due to the pandemic, it was delayed half a year. So in total, suddenly it was already 5 years without us realizing it was so many years.
And I read that for this new album, you worked together in a studio for a few days, from the morning till the evening. Sounds like you wanted to reconnect with your creative spirit. Was that the reason behind that?
Yeah, because we usually work a lot by the internet because we live in different countries, in 4 different countries. So in Belgium, Netherlands, Germany, and Italy. So 4 different, and by coming together, we could work on each other's tracks and see each other. It's more connecting also, So we booked like 1 week because we thought if we do too long and we get tired of each other, then we are sitting there. If we do too short, then it's not good for the inspiration either. But after 1 week, we thought we could have done it even 1 more week because it felt so good and we had so many nice ideas and such a good time with each other that it felt even too short. But it really helped us by bringing the songs to the next level because I felt like when we were working together, there was a lot of things happened with the songs. So some songs, of course, stayed a bit more the same than others, but some songs really made a huge transformation. And because of this week, I think that there was more like, they became really more like a group effort, this whole album. And everybody feels very connected to this album, also on a personal level, because we did it all together. So everybody was very important and contributed a lot of their own things in the album.
I can imagine that if this is a group effort and everybody's contributed to the songs and to the album, in theory, perhaps it sounds easy, but perhaps in practice, sometimes it could be not. I think that it also requires that just to leave the egos apart and just focus to the band, right?
Yeah, because in many bands, then there is like, or you have like just one songwriter and everybody listens to the one songwriter. But in our band, we have 5 songwriters, and it's a great thing to have 5 songwriters, but it only works if everybody puts indeed their ego aside and just goes for the greater good. Because if that would be not the case and everybody wants to push their own songs, then it doesn't work. But like this, that everybody put their ego aside and just only the best songs count, and then it's a great feeling that everybody's able to do that, and then you can also achieve great results. And the good positive thing about that is as well, because in bands where there's just one songwriter, if the one songwriter has no inspiration, you get already a very boring album. And in our case, there's always, if one guy has no inspiration, there's still 4 guys with a lot of inspiration left. So there's always good ideas coming up.
And is it something that perhaps you are going to keep on practicing in the future, or you don't know? Yeah, we already said to each other we're gonna definitely keep on doing this because we felt so happy doing that we're gonna do then the next time maybe even 2 times 1 week, so like 2 sessions, because we were very happy with this result. But before that, you also traveled to Prague, right? Just to record with the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra. How was that experience?
Yeah, that was right before the lockdown, so we were very lucky that we could still do that.
Just in time.
Just in time, because 1 week later and everything was locked, so that then could have not been anymore. So like this, when you're there, and it's a lot of preparation already. First, indeed, you have to make the arrangements. Then you have to write all the scores, like for everybody the sheet music, and every musician needs their own sheet music. So it's like 2 weeks from morning till evening working on the scores. But then when everything is prepared very well, you come there, everybody gets their parts and they start playing it. They never rehearse it, they just read it and start playing it.
Wow.
So these musicians, they are extremely good. And sometimes there's, of course, this really crazy parts that we have, then they have to look one more time. But then the second time they play it already right away. So it's incredible, this craftsmanship of these people. They are very good musicians.
Yeah. So did you were you expected from a long time ago to work with them, or just happened now?
Yeah, we actually, with my other band Mayan, we did a test for the album Jana. We recorded 1 day with the Prague Symphony Orchestra, and we thought if that works well, we will do it with EPICA also for the whole album. And it worked really well with Mayan. We were very satisfied with the results and the way of working. And therefore, we decided with EPICA to do the whole album with that orchestra.
Mm-hmm. Going to the album, the title Omega, of course, it's talking about this point of theory that you also like a lot. But is this more like a personal thing that you wanted to have this title, or also it was shared with the rest of the band?
Yeah, I usually when I write lyrics, it's first of all a personal thing. But I'm always happy to hear that the band is very interested, and they ask me what do you want to tell with this part. And with Simone, I share 50% of the lyrics, so she writes also half of the lyrics. And especially this time, we were all the time on the same with the same idea. So we were really very much on the same page with the lyrics this time. Because on some other albums, she was a bit going that way, me that way. But on this album, it felt really like a unity. She was interested in the same topics at the same time as I was. So it was very nice. Also, we wrote even one lyric together, the Freedom and the Wolves Within song. We wrote together the lyric.
Mm-hmm. The album begins with the intro Alpha, and of course finishes with Omega. The Alpha and the Omega. Yeah. But this album is like very far away to be the Omega album of EPICA, but perhaps the beginning of a new chapter. Do you feel like that?
Yeah, everything is possible. But in these times, when we wrote this album and started recording, we had no idea what was going to come. And we are now living in chaotic times. Yeah. But history has showed us that all the time when some chaos happened, then it can really get brutal sometimes and very difficult. But always at a certain point, things get better. And then there's a new opportunity, a transformation, so to say. And then after that chaos, there comes a time of beauty and kind of a new paradise. So I'm really looking forward to what comes after this. And then if this is a kind of paradise where we live more like in harmony with nature again, then a new EPICA album would really get a lot of inspiration from that new time. So maybe indeed the Omega is the end of the old times that we were living in. And hopefully, that's at least what I hope for, that we start living in a transformed world where we really live together with animals, plants, nature, and together, working together instead of competition. Because there was a lot of competition the last decades. People were competing each other, greed, money. But now, if we find a way to cooperate, we can create beautiful things.
Do you think that these special times and this pandemic help us as humankind to develop in this way?
Yeah, I think that sometimes some nasty things have to happen to get the result in the end. And I have the feeling that this is the kind of nasty thing that we have to go through in order for us to make that transformation happen. And sometimes even the nasty things get initiated by the wrong people who are not the right ones to make the transformation happen. But still, that initiation is needed in order for other people to take over and make the beautiful things happen. So that's what I hope for, and that's my dream.
Can we find the lightning? The album sounds like EPICA at its purest, and as you said several times in your interviews, a collection of songs to play live.
Yeah.
Did you think perhaps that with your previous album you reach a point that you need to deliver something different with this new album?
Yeah, when I was listening to the holographic principle, for me it's hard to listen to it from the beginning till the end. There's a lot of things to process. So it's like all the time guitars and orchestra are full force, battling to be up front. And with Omega, we really try to sometimes give the guitars priority and sometimes the orchestra, not all the time all together. And that's something that we consciously took in mind from the beginning of the creation process. So we listened very carefully and we tried to improve the things that we were not happy with about the last album. Still, we are very happy with all the songs, but we always try to change the things that we are not happy with, and then make something better after. And so every album is a result of the previous album, and yeah, therefore you change the things that you think you can do better.
So how important then was this 5 years hiatus just to develop this new material?
Yeah, and I think that we have now so many albums that we don't necessarily every 2 years need to make a new album. We make a new album now when we really feel that we have something new to offer. And I think that's now the right approach for us, because if we would make too many albums from now on, maybe we start repeating ourselves. And that's something we want to avoid. We want every album to be something bringing to the table that's something that is unique, and not just make an album to make an album.
Well, in this new album, you have a couple of songs with Middle Eastern influences, like the Seal of Solomon and Code of Life, with Mira singer also as a guest. So how did you come up with that idea to mix it and to make it an EPICA song?
Yeah, first of all, we when I was working on Seal of Solomon, and Koen was working on Code of Life, we didn't know from each other that we were working on a song with Middle Eastern influence. Yeah, we didn't know. And so at a certain point, we thought we have now 2 cool songs with Middle Eastern influences. Which one shall we put on the album? But we thought, why making a decision? We can put them both on the album. Yeah, and now we notice many fans are really happy that there are 2 songs like this on the album, so we made the right choice. But with Zaher, we thought like the Code of Life was missing something atmospherical, and we know that he's great in doing that. And so we gave him a call, and we asked him, are you interested in doing some atmospherical vocals for this song? And he gladly accepted, and he did exactly what we were hoping for. So he did a great job, yeah.
And in the album, we can also find Kingdom of Heaven Part 3. A more than 30-minute song. So 2 questions in one. First of all, why a third part of this? And the second one, and how challenging is still nowadays to compose such a long song and make it interesting from the beginning until the end?
Yeah, the first of all, why a third part is because I had the initial idea for the song, and I had a strong feeling it had to be Kingdom of Heaven Part 3. But at the same time, I also had a strong feeling like Kingdom of Heaven Part 3 has to be a song that makes people very enthusiastic, because there's high expectations about Kingdom of Heaven. Because people loved the older the Kingdom of Heaven, especially Part 1. That is it's one of the fan favorites of all time. So I thought, if we do a Kingdom of Heaven Part 3, it has to be really a killer song. But at a certain point I was stuck, and I couldn't make it any longer. After like 3 minutes, I didn't know what to do. And then Isaac, he took over, and he came up with some ideas, and then I built some new ideas on that, and then we went back and forth, and until the song was pretty much finished. And then we both had a great feeling about it and introduced it to the band. Then we worked on it together. So it's many layers of work on this song. But then in the end, when we were finished, we all had the feeling like this is a song that can make a difference. And also now that we hear the reactions from the fans, I'm really happy that we worked so hard on this song, and it pays off the expectations, because, of course, when it has the name Kingdom of Heaven, people expect this and nothing less than that.
Exactly.
So and I think now with the third Kingdom of Heaven that it's finished, the Kingdom of Heaven. This will be it. But to answer your other question, to make a long song, it can go both ways. Either it becomes a great song, or it becomes a little bit boring. And there's always a risk of that when you have a long song that it gets boring, and then when it gets boring, then you failed somehow.
Yeah.
It has to be interested from the beginning till the end, but that's a very big challenge every time again.
Yeah, indeed. So some of these works that you were saying about this song were done in this studio when you were all together?
Yes, also we worked on Kingdom of Heaven where we were all together. There was actually, we had all our home studios set up there, And then sometimes we were working in a group of people there in that room, and then at the same time another group of people was working in another room, and we had the freedom to walk in whatever room we wanted. So there were no rules. We could do whatever felt right. So also like the producer Joost was working with Simone on vocal lines, and then we could also join there and add ideas. So whatever we felt like we were doing, and that was the strength of that period, that there were no rules, just going with the flow.
So when was the last time that you worked like this for an album?
With Maya, my other band, we work pretty much like this also, really together. And but with EPICA, that we worked like this must have been for the last time, like the Consigned to Oblivion album.
The second album.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying in the beginning, like reconnecting yourselves with your...
Yes. Yes, and that's also why you have indeed the strength from the beginning combined with the strength from now, the best of both worlds. Yeah,
exactly. Another particular song is the Skeleton Kid, that you also have a video for that, and there is also a chord of kids.
Yes.
Over there. So how did you come with this idea to include a chord of kids for the song?
Yeah, that was an idea of Koen, the keyboard player, and he also makes the arrangements for the choirs. And his dream was to record a children choir, also his both own kids sing in a children choir. And we gave him full trust, because we think always like when he has an idea with choirs, we can trust him because he always has good ideas on that. And he didn't disappoint us, because when the children choir was recorded, we were all very happy with the end result. And he didn't overuse it. It's just here and there where it really brings an addition to the choirs. And kids, they have a certain sound that you can never reproduce with an adult choir. So it's simply impossible to do that with an adult choir. So wherever we have the children choir, you can hear it right away. They are the kids.
What were the first impressions when you were first releasing your first songs?
There was. It's always difficult in a way to release just single songs, because we make always like albums, and every song has a purpose for the whole album. So it's a little bit scary as well to release just like one piece of the puzzle, and then see the reactions that, and also to choose which song, because if you release this song that gives a part of this vibe, then people don't know yet what other kind of songs will be on the album, and then maybe some are disappointed. They say, I expected more like this or that. And but we were very happy with the reactions. But of course, when the actual album gets released, then you get the full reactions, and these ones are the more important ones, because then people really can say what they think about the whole album. And the reactions have been overwhelming. I'm very happy, and we were already happy with the end result, but now that also the fans are very happy with the end result, then it's the circle is full.
So what is about the future? What can you talk about? What is possible today with these uncertain times?
Yeah, there's always a future, and the glass is half full or half empty, and for us it's half full. So we are happy that we still exist, and we are happy that we managed to keep on going. We fortunately are not in a situation where we are too much struggling financially, so we can keep on going. Of course, it should not take 4 years or something, because then it will also for us get difficult. But our hope for the future is that we can, at a certain point, play live shows again. We don't know yet in what kind of setting it will be, if it will be with new rules, but we will have to see how the things develop the upcoming, especially the upcoming year. I think will be very important to see in which direction things will go.
Yeah. So far, there are some dates for Latin America in December this year.
Yeah.
It's a. Will there be Uruguay as well, or not yet? You don't know yet.
Yeah, first let's see how if these can already happen, and then if they happen, then we can start building on other things. But for now, it's going to be First of all, seeing the upcoming months, if things get better, progress, or if the virus and the new mutations keep bothering and things keep closed. So it's a crucial time, and hopefully we can, as soon as possible, play all the countries in South America that we always love to play.
Yeah, and there was also a tour planned with Apocalyptica, but is it still postponed for next year? Is still happening next year?
Yeah, it's 2022, and of course that also depends on the rules by then. But I expect that at a certain point that things will start happening again.
Mm-hmm. I have read that you were also involved in a project called United Metal Minds.
Yes.
What is that about?
Yeah, United Metal Minds is a project where I work together with talented musicians from all over the world. And then especially the talented musicians that are not famous. So the discovering talents that nobody knows yet. And it's very exciting. It's a lot of work also. And also before we can record the songs, we have to make sure that people can reach the studio. So it's a little bit tricky with that too. But there's already many songs written, and they sound really promising. I'm really happy with the material. And there's so many great and enthusiastic and passionate, talented musicians around the world that it's very, very much fun to work with these people. And one guy that I worked with on United Metal Minds, he's also involved on the new EPICA album that I worked with him on 2 songs, because I liked working with him so much that he made a kind of promotion.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that I worked with him on 2 songs on the, actually 3 songs on the new EPICA album.
And how do you find these new talents?
Yeah, I had some kind of campaign running, and then people could join the campaign. And then they're sending me videos, YouTube videos, music that they wrote. And then I could pick the ones that I like the most. And of course, that's always a hard thing, because everybody is passionate, but not everybody sends good stuff. But there were some people there I was really blown away, and especially that guy I was talking about. He came up with songs that I was really blown away. That was so good, and nobody knows him. So I thought I have to work more with this guy. So it's due to United Metal Minds, I learn also things from other people, and they learn things from me. So it's a very nice way of exchanging knowledge about music.
And I guess you can imagine that is very time consuming, because you should receive tons of materials.
Yes, it is very time consuming, but it's also fun, because and especially then the time that I was selecting the songs, it was very much a lot of music that I had to sift through. Now things calm down, and we're working in small groups and making it progress on a very nice time schedule. So without that it becomes too much, because I also have a lot of other things to do. But like this, it works really well. So when there's and also I gave some delegated some of the tasks to the guy that I just talked about. Jerome Bailey is his name, and he's also took some of the work from me, from my shoulders. So now it's easy to process. But in the beginning, it was like inventing the wheel. I didn't know what worked, what doesn't work, or how much work it would be. And now we found a nice way of making it work. Yeah.
Because I have one question from one of my another colleague.
Yeah, because it was organized by Cartoon Nazi as a company, and they were involved in the organization. So it was for us the first time in Uruguay. Indeed, there were some bands that were not having no connection with metal, but for us that never matters as long as people are having fun. And it seemed like people are having a lot of fun.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay. Mark, thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you very much
for the new album. It's really awesome. Bijzonder album.
Bijzonder, ja.
Bijzonder album.
Veel plezier in Rotterdam.
Yeah, I hope that.
Cool. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.